Today, we will be reading a story that is set on the continent of Asia in the country China. We can see China on this map in orange. We've been talking about things that the Chinese invented and about Chinese writing. Turn to the person who's helping you today and tell them something that you already know about writing and or inventions in ancient China. Today, we are going to read a fictional tale. We've already read a fictional tale that was set in India, The Tiger, the Brahmin, and the Jackal. This fictional story was a folk tale. A folk tale is a story someone made up a long time ago that has been told over and over and over again by word of mouth. Today, we are going to read a folk tale that takes place in China and is associated with ancient Chinese culture. Today's story is called The Magic Paintbrush. Before we read that story, I want to go over a few of the vocabulary words that we'll see. Regret. To regret something is to feel sorry about it. For example, if you take a walk barefoot in the snow, you might regret not wearing shoes. Cork. Cork is a stopper made out of the bark of a cork oak tree. Corks are often used in bottles to keep liquid from spilling out. Scowl. A scowl is a look of anger or disapproval. For example, Chris's mother gave him a scowl when she saw him being mean to his sister. Praise. Praise is congratulations or admiration. For example, Juliana received much praise for the story that she wrote in school. Turn to whoever is helping you today and tell them about a time that you received praise for something that you did. All right, now I want you to turn to that person and tell them about something that they deserve praise for. Something you think they deserve praise for. Once upon a time, long ago, in the land of China, there lived a poor boy named Mo Ling. To help earn money for his family, Mo Ling gathered bundles of firewood to sell. But what he really wanted to do, more than anything else in the world, was paint. Mo Ling was so poor, however, that he could not even buy a single paintbrush. What's the setting of this story? Remember, a setting is where a story takes place. You've got it. This story is set in China. One day, as Mo Ling passed by the village school, he saw the children busily painting pictures. "Please, sir," said Mo Ling to the teacher, "I would like to paint, but I have no brush. Will you loan me one?" Make a prediction. Do you think the teacher is going to loan him a paintbrush? "What?" cried the teacher. "You are only a little boy who sells firewood. Go away." Do you think the teacher should have reacted that way? That wasn't very kind of him, huh? "I may be poor," said Mo Ling, "but I will learn to paint." The next time he went to gather firewood, Mo Ling used a twig to draw birds on the ground. When he came to a stream, he dipped his hand in the water and used his wet finger to draw a fish on the rocks. That night, he used a piece of burned wood to draw animals and flowers. Every day, Mo Ling found time to make more pictures. People began to notice. How lifelike the boy's pictures look, they said. That bird he has drawn looks as though it is ready to fly away. You can almost hear it sing. Do people think that Moling's pictures are good? How do you know that they think they're good? Moling enjoyed hearing the people's praise or compliments, but still, he thought, if only I had a paintbrush. Make another prediction. Do you think Moling is ever going to get a paintbrush? Let's find out. One night, after Moling had worked all day, he fell into a deep sleep. In a dream, he saw an old man with a long white beard and a kind face. The old man held something in his hand. "Take this," he said to Moling. "It is a magic paintbrush. Use it with care." When Moling awoke, he found his fingers wrapped around a paintbrush. Am I still dreaming? He wondered. Quickly he got up and painted a bird. The picture flapped its wings and flew away. He painted a deer. As soon as he had put the last spot on the animal's coat, it brushed its nose against Moling and then ran into the woods. "It is a magic brush," said Moling. He ran to where his friends lived. He painted toys for the children. He painted cows and tools for the farmers. He painted bowls of delicious food for everyone. Is Moling using this magic paintbrush with kindness? No good thing can remain a secret forever. Soon, news of Moling and the magic paintbrush reached the ears of the greedy emperor. A greedy person is someone who wants much more than they need. What do you think the greedy emperor will do? "Bring me that boy and his brush," the emperor commanded. His soldiers found Moling and brought him back to the palace. With a scowl, the emperor looked at Moling. "Paint me a dragon," he yelled. Moling began to paint, but instead of painting a lucky dragon, he painted a slimy toad that hopped right onto the emperor's head. "Disobedient boy," said the emperor. "You will regret that." He grabbed the magic paintbrush and ordered his soldiers to throw Moling in jail. Then the emperor called for his royal painter. "Take this brush and paint me a mountain of gold," he commanded. But when the royal painter finished the picture, all of the gold turned into rocks. Why do you think the royal painter's mountain of gold turned into a pile of regular rocks? "So," said the emperor, "this brush will only work for the boy. Bring him to me." Moling was brought to the emperor. "If you will paint for me," said the emperor, "I will give you gold and silver, fine clothes, a new house, and all the food and drink that you want." Would you paint for the emperor if he offered you all of those things? Let's see what Moling does. Moling pretended to agree. "What do you want me to paint?" he asked. "Paint me a tree that has gold coins for leaves," said the emperor with greed in his eyes. Moling took the magic paintbrush and began to paint. He painted many blue waves, and soon the emperor saw an ocean before him. "That is not what I told you to paint," he barked. But Moling just kept painting. In the ocean he painted an island, and on that island he painted a tree with gold coins for leaves. "Yes, yes, that's more like it," said the emperor. "Now, quickly, paint me a boat so that I can get to the island." Mo Ling painted a big sailboat. The emperor went on board with many of his highest officials. Mo Ling painted a few lines, and a gentle breeze began to blow. The sailboat moved slowly towards the island. Faster! Faster! Shouted the emperor. Mo Ling painted a big curving stroke, and a strong wind began to blow. That's enough wind, shouted the emperor, but Mo Ling kept painting. He painted a storm, and the waves got higher and higher, tossing the sailboat like a little cork on the water. Then the waves broke the boat to pieces. The emperor and his officials were washed up on the shore of the island, with no way to get back to the palace. And as for Mo Ling, people say that for many years he went from village to village, using his magic paintbrush to help everyone wherever he went.
Alright, my friends, I've got a couple questions about that story that we just read. First off, I want to know, is this folktale fiction or is it nonfiction? And how do you know? You have got it. This story is fictional. We know that this story is fiction because things happen in this story that could not happen in real life, like having a magic paintbrush that brings your drawings to life. Alright, I want you to pick 2 characters in this story and describe them. Who are the 2 main characters in this story? And I want you to describe them. Pick the 2 main characters who the story was mostly about and tell me what they were like. You got it. Our first main character was Mo Ling. Mo Ling was kind, and he was young, and he liked to give people things, and he liked to draw. The Emperor was our other main character, and the Emperor was not like Mo Ling. The Emperor was selfish and greedy. Alright, I want you to turn to whoever is there helping you, whether it's your neighbor, or your cousin, or your mom, or your brother, whoever's there with you. I want you to tell them what happened in the story. Tell them the plot. Remember, our plot describes what happens at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. Go ahead and turn to whoever's there with you for a few minutes and tell them what the plot of the story was. What happened? All right, my friends, I'm going to ask you some more about some of those details from the plot. First, at the beginning of the story, what does Mo Ling want to do, and why can't he do it? Mo Ling wanted to do something at the beginning. What was it, and why couldn't he do it? Right, he wanted to paint or be a painter, but he was poor and he couldn't afford a paintbrush or paint to paint with. Because he could not afford these things, what did he do to make art? He still found a way to make art. What did he do to make his art? He used what he did have. He used nature, twigs, leaves, water, the mud, to create really lifelike drawings. Eventually he does get a paintbrush, but his paintbrush is not an ordinary paintbrush, it is a magical one. What is it about the paintbrush that makes it magical? You've got it. It brings his drawings to life. It makes them real. What does he do when the emperor tells him to paint things? So remember, our emperor was greedy and selfish, and our emperor was asking him to paint some different things for him. What did Mo Ling do when the emperor was asking him to paint things for him? He tricked the emperor by trapping him in one of his paintings. He painted him into a storm. Alright, after the emperor is stranded on the island, what does Mo Ling do? After he strands the emperor on the island, what does he do? After that, he travels from village to village, helping people who need help, and not greedy people like the emperor. All right, again, I want you to turn to whoever is there helping you. I want you to tell them, do you think that Moling was justified in putting the emperor and his officials on an island? Do you think that was justified or just? Remember, just means that it's correct or fair. Do you think he was justified in doing that? And why? Alright friends, when you wrap up that discussion, go ahead and open the PDF that's attached to this assignment, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next.
Yesterday, we made a plan for a book about writing, paper, and calligraphy in ancient China. Today, we're going to take the ideas that we put in our plan and turn it into a rough draft. A rough draft is not a finished product in writing. In a rough draft, we are putting all of our ideas down on paper, and then later we'll go back and edit our rough draft and fix what needs to be fixed and improve what needs to be improved. That will give us our final product. So for a rough draft, not everything has to be perfect. We just want to make sure we get all of our ideas down in one place so we have a place to start when we're ready to work on a final draft. For our rough draft today, there is a PDF attached to this assignment. If you don't have that open already, go ahead and open it now. It is 2 pages long. On our first page, the very first section of our rough draft says topic sentence. We'll talk about topic sentences a little bit later this year. For this assignment, instead of doing a whole topic sentence, where it says topic sentence, I want you to put the title of your book. So instead of a whole sentence, it'll just be the title that you have chosen for your book. The rest of the page, 2 pages, follows a similar format. There are supporting details, supporting detail 1, 2, and 3. Those supporting details are going to be your facts, or things that you wrote down that you want to talk about in your book, about either writing, bookmaking, paper, or calligraphy in ancient China. Underneath each supporting detail, there is a section that says explain or elaborate. To explain or elaborate, we're going to provide more detail about our facts and more information. So if one of your facts was that, the Chinese invented paper. Oops, I got an extra capital in there. If your fact is that the Chinese invented paper, when we explain and elaborate on that, we're going to give more information or more detail. So to explain or elaborate on that fact, we could say, at first, At first, the Chinese wrote on bone, metal vases, clay pottery, fine cloth, and bamboo. We're going to add more detail or more information. This information supports the fact that the Chinese invented paper. It gives extra information. So for my explain and elaborate, I can't just put another random fact. I can't just say that that calligraphy is now used as a form of art. Because calligraphy being a form of art is not related to the Chinese inventing paper. The information that you put in explain and elaborate your sentences here, need to be related to your fact. You are going to pick 3 different facts from your planning guide that we worked on yesterday. 3 different facts. For each fact, you're going to write that statement or that fact, and then you're going to give me some extra information about it. I want you to give me extra information. For this one, you can use the text box and type like I've done here, or if it's easier for you, you can print this out and you can write on it instead. So you can either type this or print it and write on it, and then take a picture to turn it in. You can upload the pictures through Google Classroom. This bottom sentence says conclusion. We're not going to worry about the conclusion for today or these 2 charts on the bottom. So today we're just focusing on writing our title where it says topic sentence. We're going to pick 3 facts from our planning guide, and we're going to explain and elaborate on those facts. So 3 facts and an extra explanation for each fact. All right, my friends, good luck in your book making.